the
Thank
show
you.
Vanessa Medeiros. I'm really excited. I feel like nobody
Oh,
has had you on, well, you're gonna be on I think the episode 2 I heard from when the Portuguese kids went live. What was it? Like the oversee of basically what happened in episode 1, just like recapping it. And so I heard that you were gonna be on episode 2 with them
yeah,
kind of recapping it as well. I love that they're doing that. Super
yeah,
interactive.
yeah. It
So
definitely is. It's a great opportunity to get us to kind of check in and see how people are feeling after everything gets put out there.
yeah, well, if people don't know who you are, this is Vanessa Medeiros from the Portuguese Kids, and she is like our female representation of comedy, which I like obsess over because it is so hard in just in this influential world community to get ahead at the same level as men, to be honest with you.
Right.
It
Yeah,
allows us to
for
be a little
sure.
bit more seen too and feel, relatable. So I watched the
Yeah.
episode probably 5 times already. Have you watched it multiple times?
So, as you may or may not know, obviously there were some issues with it on the app specifically, but um, I know on TV, on either cable or dish, whichever, people were using, it was normal. It was playing as normal. There were no issues, which is great. I specifically wanted to watch it with my mom because
Yeah.
of the interview with my mom. Um, but she has cable. I don't. So I was gonna have her come and watch it like on a big I have a projector in like one of my rooms in the one of our living rooms, and I was gonna have her see it like on the big screen and everything, and then I'm rushing home. It was supposed to be airing at a certain time, and then it wasn't, and then so it was really chaotic, to be honest with you.
I know.
Um, but then even now that we all have access to it, I definitely watched it a couple of times, and it's weird. It's weird watching myself on a screen. It's even more weird when people were sending me screenshots of their TV in their living room and they were watching me on TV. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool, but it's also, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's a weird
It's
feeling.
almost like
I
an
can't really
uncomfy
describe
feeling
it.
in a way because you're not used to this like fame.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
kind of
for
like a
sure.
whirlwind, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. But it's awesome because it's like, people who have been fans of the Portuguese Kids from the very beginning when they first started 20 years ago, it's been a long time coming, and to get to this level, I think is such an amazing accomplishment. Um
Yeah.
and even people who just like recently discovered us, and just are getting into it now. It's regardless, it's still, like the guys have said, and other castmates have said as well, this show is like our love letter to the Portuguese community, for thanking them for all of the memories and, our upbringing and our childhood and different traditions that we have established along the way within our culture. But also, for the fans who have been there since the very beginning, like thanks for being around and sticking it
Yeah.
out, because now we have a show and it's all over the world, which is so cool.
So cool. So tell me, like,
Yeah.
let's circle back. Tell me how you got involved. What was the first thing that like made you work with the Portuguese kids?
Yeah, so I followed them for a while, just as someone who really admired the comedy aspect of things. I've done theater for a very long time. I started doing theater in high school, freshman year of high school, and so I kind of maintained that throughout my time in high school and even afterwards. And I didn't necessarily do theater, like community theater at my college, but I did, alumni shows with, my high school collaborators and, different people in the community that were doing shows. So I wanted to continue to do that throughout my time. So I've been involved in theater for a while, and I just happened to follow them on social media and just, in general, because I thought they were funny and they
Yeah.
represented things that were relatable to me. So I felt like, it was something that resonated with me. Probably about 10 years ago or so, they needed extras for like a parody, like music video that they were filming, locally, because a lot of
Oh
their
yeah, I
stuff they would
remember that.
film in Fall River. And so I went out to it and I just, happened to be an extra in one of the videos. And, during that time, they were telling me about my Big Fat Portuguese Wedding show. that dinner show that they did for quite some time. It was pretty successful, it ended up being, we ended up, performing around here in, California, the West Coast, and Canada. So I auditioned for that. I got cast for that. And, through those years of just doing that show, after some time, I started to do shows with just them, which was really cool. Because it was a whole different aspect of like community theater versus like doing what they do, like I can memorize
Yeah.
lines like it's nothing, but getting on stage and kind of doing things on the fly was a little nerve-wracking. I was like, wow, this
Yeah.
is this is different, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just I feel like what really
Just
got me in
organically,
was,
totally organically happened.
yeah, it just happened to be a coincidental thing that just, when I went out for the music video, they also were going to be running auditions. I auditioned, became a part of that, and then it just, I started doing more like little videos here and there with them, and then it just became something that they were like, you know what, let's add a female to the mix and see how that
Yeah.
goes. And now, I mean, I don't really get to perform much with them with their, stage shows just because I work. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's hard, but it's crazy to look back and think it's already been 10 years that I've been with them. It
I
just
did
feels
not
like
think that you had been with them for that long because it just feels like yesterday that, they kind of, you just started being in the picture. I don't know if there was like a formal announcement. You just kind of started just being in the picture, which feel
I was
like that's
there.
so cool
I
that it,
was there.
yeah, yeah, it just happened very organically. And that's the best way for things to happen, just that's how
Right.
you'll end up with people with no drama and you kind of just will have the same, you'll be on the same page.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's how it felt. I don't really necessarily know what the formal introduction was of me being, a part of it, but they wanted to get me in little videos here and there, like little, things that they still continue to do, like little like quick bits and little things that they do, little snippets of videos. They would get me in there so that way my face would become familiar. So then when I would go and perform with them on stage, people were like, oh, I remember her from that video that they just posted. So I think that's how it kind of just came to be, and like it came to light as like I became a part of it, a part of the close knit, um, which is really great. It was really, really awesome. I learned a lot from them. I still am very unsteady with improv. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know
Yeah, I
why.
can
I
only
can
imagine.
perform in front of thousands of people and still feel super uncomfortable by improv. It's just, I don't know. I get in my head too much. And then, Brian always
Yeah,
tells me, like, stay out of your head, stay out of your head. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just messing me up a little bit.
of course.
But it's been such an awesome experience, really, honestly.
Yeah,
I've, I've,
what a ride.
I've been blessed. Yeah,
Yeah, and
for sure.
who knows what the rest of the ride is going to be. It's almost like up in the air, unknown right now. Just can't wait to hear how the people in Portugal receive it because I think that it'll do well there too. Growing
I
up
hope
going to
so.
Portugal, it was always like, not anymore, but when we were younger, like America was just like the coolest thing. And then, for me, saying I was California, they just thought we were surfing all the time. And it was such a cool thing to be from America or and so I think it's always been like a fantasy, like the American dream. So for them to watch like how it's been since, our parents immigrated here and everything. And that culture still will never leave. And especially for you guys in the East Coast, because you're not as far away. Um, and so it's just funny, no matter where, who, whatever, we all have just like the most similar stories. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Our moms are all yelling at us the same way.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, and I think that's like a big thing that, throughout the time that I've been working with them, I've noticed that there are a lot of people that some people get offended. And I I sit back and I'm like, what is it that that's offensive about this? Like maybe your upbringing was a little different, but we all had the same foundation. You know what I mean? Like we all have the grandmother that tries to overfeed us. We all have
Yeah.
if you have a brother, they get to stay out late and do whatever. We have to be home early. It's always it's the same type of concepts. It just might be in a different way, but the foundation of the experiences are pretty similar. You know what I mean? And we're Portuguese people. We're bringing light and laughter and like this like lightheartedness and mostly just like people to kind of look back and remember like I remember that like oh yeah I had that experience too or bringing back up memories of traditions that were made over the years. So I always thought it was funny, in a way, in a weird way that people would get offended because I'm like, wait, we're Portuguese, right? Like, we're speaking from experience here. It's not like we're Irish making fun of Portuguese
And
people
a
or
lot
anything,
of your guys'
And it's,
are legitimately your experiences, like your
yes, yes,
legitimate like things that you're reenacting from your family.
right, right. I mean, a lot of the things that I get from my mom, just her mannerisms, her facial
How does she
expressions,
feel
her
about that?
worries.
Like it has to feel, obviously Rita does like, his mom, but I'm sure everyone is inspired by their grandma, grandpa, or something with their accent and everything. Being that I'm sure your mom was, your inspiration because you kind of play the mom in some of these characters. How does she
Yeah.
receive that?
She's really great. She's really, really great. And, there are some times where throughout the years, just me being a clown, I would like, she'll say something crazy and I would post it. She's like, stop putting me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchats. I don't want to hear about it because I hear from my friends that you're making fun of me and I don't know about it because I don't have these things. And I was like, Mom, all right. It's funny, like, but honestly, at the end of the day, she is my biggest fan. She was so, there's a picture of me. Somebody is taking a picture with me on the red carpet in Fall River and in Massachusetts and at our premiere. And all I see is my mom in the background and she's just smiling at my like me taking the picture with these people, and I'm just like it's just so pure, you know what I mean? Like she's just
Yeah,
so proud and so happy. And, it just even when, I told her, I'm like, this first episode means a lot to me because you're in it. She's like, oh my God, what did I say? Do I sound stupid? I'm like, it was perfect, Mom. It was
yeah.
perfect. And I love that we
What
had
a
those little
nice
touches
touch
too.
those moments are. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
haven't watched more. I was lucky enough to go to one of the premieres, so I was able to watch two episodes, and we sat by each other. We didn't plan it, but we sat by one another, and you were cracking up. And I looked at you, and I was like, "Wait, have you watched this already?" You're like, "No." I was like, "How cool it is it that I get to watch it with you?" You know?
Yeah.
And so it
Yeah,
was
for
really
sure.
fun to hear like when you laughed the most because I'm sure you had, behind the scenes things that made it even funnier and things like that. So it was really fun to be by you and hearing your cackles and then hearing when I laughed and it was just it was cool to watch it with you guys. And I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I thought you guys for sure, had gone through it, but it was nice to know that we were watching it with you guys.
Brian and Derek and Dean, I mean, they're the main ones, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
the vision, the writing, the how they wanted it to be played out, just the execution of it all is just
Yeah.
obviously I owe it to the three of them because it's just I mean, I wrote one sketch, but yeah, it's out of so many and so much time that we spent filming. I mean, we filmed this over a course of like 2.5, 3 years, so it's been a long time coming, and I
Yeah.
honestly never thought I would see the day. I really didn't think so, because I'm just like, all right, we're gonna have fun doing this. And we
Yeah.
had a lot of fun. The chemistry between us is just, and I was gonna say, you can see the chemistry is just great, and you can see it on the show when we are all just sitting
Mhm.
around talking to each other. It's just so like organic and just we're chatting, we're laughing, and it was a really, really cool experience. I hope that there's more to come
Oh
because,
yeah, I hope so too.
you know,
I,
I
and
really think it could
it's
do
been
really
already
well.
received so well, and like the comments when you read the comments, you're always reading. I was spot on. Like, oh my God, that's exactly like so. That is like almost a relief. Like, yes, we're relatable. People are getting it. They're understanding like what we're doing here. And I'm sure in the
Right.
beginning, I feel like we always start off with so many haters for anything that we do. And it's like
So
once
many
you get a little
haters.
glimmer, that's like, we love you. We'll support everything that you do. So it's been
Right.
actually great to see like everybody on board. Like, I think when I think of like David from How to Cook Stuff, he's still in so many of the beginning stage where there's so many haters in the beginning. He handles
Yeah.
it very well, but
Yeah.
there is a time where that kind of like simmers down and everyone just starts putting that aside and just really loving the art of it. And I was very impressed with the acting. I felt like all of you guys act well. When you watch a movie or a show, you're like, this chick cannot act for
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Like you just
Oh, for
feel
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really, I had never seen you more than like clips because I had never
Hmm.
seen you come out here. So I hadn't seen you in like that magnitude of more than 30-second clips, right? Than
Yeah.
what you guys were putting up on social media. So it was really cool, one, to see you out of Lydia
Yeah.
and
Yeah, for
actually
sure.
kind of be like normal, right? It
Yeah.
was fun to see you almost like a bare actor in a way without the
Yeah.
farda. So that was really
Right,
fun
right.
to see that character. And what I didn't expect is like the sentimental. And then when you threw out the F-bomb, I loved it. Like, fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is like if you don't we wanted to throw little things in there, to just make the audience feel like they're watching a show. I mean, this is very professionally done. This is not something that like, we
Yeah.
busted out our iPhones and started recording something just like for fun and just, to kind of shoot the shit and whatever. Like with this is a legitimate thing that we have going on here. And I guess like because I was the anticipation of it all has been so real that I didn't feel like it was real until it's real. You know what I mean? And now that it's here, I'm like, holy crap, guys. Like, we have a show and it's
You're in
all over
it.
the
Like,
world. You know what I mean? Like, it's in so many different areas of the world that, I mean, I still haven't wrapped my head around it. I don't know when I will, but like right now is definitely not the time where I've wrapped my head around it because it's just,
you have
I'm
to
still
be in
going
it.
on about my days. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
Yeah.
counselor at a middle school. I'm still doing my thing. And, some of my coworkers are like, okay, superstar. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, But then low key in
It
my heart,
is
I'm like,
though.
I'm freaking out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I just like try to be
Yeah.
like,
I
no
know
big
it's like
deal.
almost hard at this point, I'm sure, to handle being like humble and coming across humble and being like excited and being like, no, this is a really big deal. And I should talk about it as if it's a big,
Yeah.
big deal. Sometimes we feel like we can't give ourselves like the pat on the back, the congratulations, and the like to
Yeah.
hype yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, continue doing that because that'll keep you going. Like I can see when you talk about it, you're just so happy. It just
Yeah.
gives you so much joy and you're just so excited to share it. And all of you guys are scared because you care so much about it. You wouldn't be scared what you're putting out there unless you truly cared about, what we're viewing. And it goes to show like all the emotion behind it. Everyone has like a connection to, a late family member, a dad, that you guys are able to highlight those special moments that you'll never forget about I know Brian with his dad, and I know, Derek with his as well. And
Yeah.
it's almost like not love letter to the Portuguese community, but to your parents and things
Yeah.
like that, which for you guys, I know a lot of people won't know that, but for you guys, that has to add just a special little touch to it all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even little moments where we could incorporate like honoring somebody's name, like when I play a news reporter at one point and my name is Luciana and that was my grandmother, my mom's name, and I was very, very close to her. So little things like that where,
Yeah.
and that was one of the episodes that my mom actually got to see at the premiere in Fall River. And so like she got emotional too because
She know.
I'm introducing myself as Luciana and as a news reporter. And she was like, oh, that's, a Vo's name. And so
Oh, I
little
got
things like
goosebumps.
that.
That's so
Yeah,
sweet.
little things like that are just, we try to incorporate things in there that maybe not everybody will know, but our people, like the people that we want to know, they get it. And they're like, wow, that's cool that you incorporated that in there. So yeah, it is. It is a love letter to our people, our people, not only our immediate people, but our people, like our community as a Portuguese community. But I try to like, I have all these big dreams, like I was watching
Yeah.
like the Oscars recently and I'm like, that could be me someday. Like calm down, calm
Who
down.
am I?
Yeah, like right. I'm like, let me just
Relax.
bring myself back down to earth. But it's just those little moments where I'm like, well, one day when I'm actually,
Pretty good.
on the red carpet, that red carpet, it's gonna
Yeah.
be all done.
I just see a movie. Like, I just see a movie for some reason. Like, this is only going to lead to more and more and more. There's no way. Even with just the watches just in the US, like, there's no way
Yeah,
that this is not going to progress because it's so good. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
just supporting my friends here. It's freaking good. It's so
thank
good.
you.
You
Thank
make it
you. I
easy to
appreciate that.
support.
I appreciate that. That's what we were hoping. That's what we want to continue. That we want that vibe and that energy to continue, you know. But like I said, I'm in this mode of like, my mom's like, yeah, when you make it big and you're making the big bucks, you can, take care of me like took care of you. And I'm like, honestly, that is my dream. Like I want to be able
Yeah.
to take care of my people, take care of my parents and stuff. But then like I get on this tangent and I'm like,
And that's a
Mom, don't
Portuguese
let
thing
me get on
too.
this tangent. Get on this tangent of like me thinking I'm gonna be like walking with the superstars. But as dramatic as that is in my head, I also come back down to earth. But I also, like you said, like I am making a big deal about it. This is huge. This is not just, we had a show down in, at a Portuguese restaurant in Fall River. Those are fun too, don't get me wrong, but this is big. This is hitting a different type of population that is bigger than, the 200 people at a restaurant down the street. You know what I'm saying? So this is a really, really big deal, and it's really, really cool. Really cool for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're like in it, feeling it the moment. Like it's hard to process, but it's just like don't even process. Just like
I
be in
know.
it, you know? Because you'll
I know.
never get this like first feelings again. You'll never get this like first show, first episode, these first feelings again. So you have to like
Yeah.
totally be in it, you know?
Now that it's everything is working properly and everybody has access to it, I'm definitely feeling like the feelings, the feelings of like,
Yeah.
wow, this is cool, this is
Yeah.
exciting. And people that I haven't talked to in forever, send me a screenshot. They're like, that was so awesome. I'm like, oh, thanks for tuning in. You're like, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
And like, I haven't talked to you in a while, or, I haven't seen you in quite a bit of time, but you're still tuning in and checking this out. So like, that's one more
Yeah.
person that I didn't expect to see it. They got to see it, now they're sharing it with their family. And it's just cool to see friends of friends and family friends and other people within the community letting me know like, hey, I tuned in. That was awesome. I have coworkers that are recording it and making sure they catch it every week. And I'm like, this is really cool, and just
Yeah.
it's just an awesome feeling to know that all the work that we've done, especially the guys, I mean, they've been doing this for 20 years, so all the work that they've done and it's finally come to this, like I can only hope and pray, put it out into the universe that this gets bigger from here.
Yeah, I think so. There's just so much good energy around it, you know? It's like there's no way that this can't move forward with all the support, all the good energy, all the blessings. Like there's just no way. So I have a question about you getting into character.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do you
go
have
for
any
it.
rituals?
You know what's crazy is I don't because I feel like so I've played other roles in like community theater and like on stage when I've done plays and stuff like that. I've played different at different ages, different types of characters. I've played animals. I know that sounds crazy, but I have. Um, it was legit. It wasn't some like freaky fetish thing. It was like an actual play about. I'm not diving into that aspect yet. I don't know. Fame might change
If
me,
times are
so
rough, you never know.
fame might change me. If I get offered something, I don't know. The price is right. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
and I feel like that to me is a challenge, you know what I mean? Because it's taking me out of my element and putting me into a character that is unfamiliar to me. Like had to play a dog once. And it was so cool to like be in that realm, but that was a challenge. I'm obviously not a
Yeah,
dog. So, I had to really like practice that and really kind of like, rehearse and try different mannerisms and try different techniques that were going to make me feel like I was really in tune with this role that I was playing. When I get into character, it's just fun, if I'm being honest. It's
yeah,
just like me thinking of all I do is channel my mom, my aunt, my grandmother, my grandmother's friend, somebody that I met in my years of being in this community. And then it just comes out. So,
yeah,
um, it's just fun. And the thing with filming that's different, obviously, from being on stage is sometimes you'll get to do things a couple of times, and you develop over time, you're like your own natural bloopers, so I'm hoping that they have that filmed, because
Yeah.
there were so many good moments that we had that were just like you'd saying the same thing over and over again, but you're saying it one way the first time, and then they cut, and then you say it again a second time, and you say, and by the third or fourth time you're just cracking up with each other, like you can't, are we gonna get through this line, you know what I mean? So it's little things like that that it was more fun than challenging, or there was nothing specific that I had to do to get into it. Just being around that energy and being around my castmates and just knowing like this is my life. This is what I've known my whole life. So this is easy for me. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
just the only thing that I worry about, honestly, and and it's something that I kind of keep in the back of my mind, is that I'm honoring my people in a respectful way. You know what I mean? Like when I'm impersonating my mom, like she knows it's all in good fun,
Yeah.
But I want to do it in a way that I am honoring them, and they can look back and be like, "That was really good. You did a good job with that," or like, "You were spot
Yeah.
on with that."
Yeah.
Um, so that's the only thing that I really think of when I'm getting into character, is like making sure I'm honoring this as true as I can, like as true to real life as I can. But I don't really have any like crazy like
Yeah.
rituals or anything like that
You're like,
that
this
I
is
have
in
to do. I'm just like, this is a conversation I had with my mom in the past like 6 months. I got this. I'm good. And then I just, kind of get into it. My whole perspective is like I need to find laughter and lightheartedness, because my job is very difficult and it can be very heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm a counselor, and so the mental health field in general is heavy. I mean, there are definitely tons of challenges, and I take on so much of other people's burdens and trauma and concerns and issues and complaints and all that. So it's like just weighing on me. So I have to find little pockets of like moments where I can be, add a little like piada here and there, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just, throw something in there, because life is serious all by itself. I feel like if we don't add little things every now and then to kind of keep it lighthearted and keep it, um, funny. So sometimes I break out of character. Sometimes I'm just, this is who I am. You know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
at work are just like, I know that I'm going to be laughing at some point with you, which is a
Yeah.
major compliment for me. So.
Totally. It's funny because you have such a serious job. Like
I
it's so
do.
serious.
I really do. I really
And then you
do.
come
It's
out and you're like,
tough.
"Hi, querida."
Yeah, yeah. I know. I have to let it out. And the thing is because I work at a school in Fall River, it's it's hard to break the two, like, and keep that line, because
They're
here I
all
am,
Portuguese.
yeah, I'm bringing in like a kid's parent, and I'm like, hey, he did so, whatever he was saying this today, and wasn't a good day, and they're just like, I know who you are. I'm like, okay, but right now I need to be in this role. I understand that you know who I am. Thank you for being a fan, but I'm trying to be your kid's counselor right now and let you know
Yeah.
that he did it. So
That's very
it's
interesting.
yeah, but that's just the
Wow.
nature of like working in Fall River, which is obviously like a massive Portuguese community, and where like the guys first started, like is in Fall River. This is where like a heart is, the heart of the Portuguese kids is here in Fall River. So, but it's funny. It's funny. Even one of the staff members that works in the front office, when I first went for my interview at this school, she
God.
was like freaking out. I was like, "Hi, I'm
Like
here for
some
an
people
interview." She's
should
like, "I
really
know."
just not say anything in certain moments.
But I was excited. I was like, "Do I
Yeah.
automatically get the job? Like, I don't know. Like, can I just go? Like, on my
You're
list?
like,
All
I'll
right, see you
name
later."
drop it. If I'm gonna get a better job, I'll name drop.
If that's gonna get me in, I'm in. Sometimes it's weird. You know what I mean? Because like, oh, I was
Yeah.
watching. I'll be one moment I'm redirecting a student, and the next moment he's like, "Me and my mom were watching you on YouTube yesterday." I'm like, okay.
So
Sometimes
were
it
you
works in my
born and
favor.
raised
Sometimes it
in
doesn't.
Fall River?
I was. Yep.
Yeah.
Born and raised. I born and raised. I lived above like the typical Portuguese family. My parents were working and building a house. We lived right above my grandmother. So, after school, I would walk to my grandmother's house. My grandfather would be a little more lenient. So he'd take me to the store, get me candy. My grandmother would be like, no, no more. It's just like it's everything that you could picture. It was there. And I don't
Yeah.
have my grandparents anymore, so it's nice to have these moments and these skits and these scenes and sketches that we write and create and remember because again, we're honoring, in some capacity we are honoring someone's memory. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and people may not realize that, but and what we do and what we kind of bring some lightheartedness to is sometimes they weren't always the most comfortable conversations with our parents or our grandparents or whoever, but we try to bring some lightheartedness to it because at the end of the day it happened, it's in the past. We can make light of it and we kind of bring some kind of like sense of humor to it, or we can dwell on it and feel like yucky about it. There's no point in that, so we try to bring
Yeah.
that lighthearted vibe to it, which I think is super important. But it's nice to have those moments, especially
Yeah.
I think of my grandparents all the time and what they would be thinking if they were alive seeing this right now.
Yeah.
A couple of them might make some negative comments, but that's just the Portuguese way.
Grandparents
Não
are so
percebe nada
special.
disso.
I know. Grandparents are so special. Like they have I think about it because our parents are so busy when working. So our grandparents kind of take that place and they
Yeah,
get to be like the parents they couldn't be because they were
right.
working. So it's like this like give and take thing that continuously goes back and forth. But as we mature and generations go on, it isn't as much as, like, grandparents to kids, maybe even Fall River still, but, like, it is a lot
Yeah,
harder because communities are now everyone starts moving, family dynamics change, and it's not this, like immigrant story anymore where like the community is like bagados, like because
yeah,
they don't know
yeah,
English and like you're just like that story of immigration just makes you hold on to each other because outside of here is an American world that we don't understand. So I don't think that
right.
you guys realize how special Fall River truly is because when you're
Yeah,
out of it and we don't have that tight knit community in like one place like that, you guys are literally living in Portugal in a sense. Like
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
is so, from what I understand, very similar, and a lot of people that immigrated there just continued living the exact same way, never learned English, and like it was like they never left. So that's
Yeah, yeah. Well,
crazy.
that's exactly what it was. And like my grandparents, they didn't learn English. They didn't feel like they had to. They made a living. They did fine. They came here. They did exactly what their goal was that they wanted to give a better life to their families, and they worked and they learned enough to get by, you know what I mean? But they didn't feel like it was necessary to completely Americanize themselves because they didn't want to lose sight of what they already knew. They were there for so long. They had that built within them like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't need to learn the language. I'm
Uh,
fine. I'm making my money. I'm doing what I got to do. And so I respect that. You know what I mean? I respect that they wanted to hang on to their culture because nowadays I feel like it could get lost easily. And even just in speaking Portuguese, I wish that I had spoke more in Portuguese when I was
yeah.
younger because now I'm learning it. I'm in an interpreting program and I'm learning Portuguese, like the proper Portuguese as an adult is so difficult.
Hard,
It's so difficult,
hard.
but because my grandparents wanted to use more of that like Portu English, language, some of the words that I know are not proper, they would say because that was their way of saying like, okay, I'm gonna accommodate, myself and, I'm gonna accommodate what the needs are of the other people in the vicinity of where I'm living and I understand I'm in America, so fine, I will accommodate my living style to them, but only to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna call the store Ishtua and not Loja because that's my way of saying like,
How is that
okay, you know what I mean?
universal too? Like,
I'll, I'll dip it in, but I'm not giving you the whole thing. You know what I mean? Is like I think a part of them wanted to give a little bit and say like, I know you want me to speak English, but I'm gonna hang on to my language and my culture and my, what I'm used to. You know what I mean? Um, But yeah, like little things like that. Like I know that's not the proper word for store. I know that, the proper word for candy is not codilge. You know what I mean? Like I know deep down that those are not the right words, but that's how I grew up learning Portuguese. Like because
Yeah.
that was my grandparents' way of compromising. You know what I'm saying? Like here's I'll talk the way you want me to talk, but how I want to do it. Everything that they did was to make sure that we felt comfortable and we felt like we could have a better life, and I firmly believe that everything put together, this whole project that we did, just everything that we are trying to honor and everything that we're trying to preserve and share with the world. It's like a little baby, you're like nervous to kind
Hmm.
of put it out there because you
Yeah.
don't know what the response is going to be. But then you're also super excited because it's really special, And I just hope that the people that, have since passed, like I know that Brian and Derek have lost their fathers, and just in general, like just people that we're honoring that are still here and that have since passed, that, I'm just looking at it like, wow, this is good. That they did a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so good, and like big, big, big kudos to Dean because just the way it's filmed, it's beautiful. It's so
So good.
nice and so easy, like on the eyes, and so easily transitioned into different sketches, and the commercials like easily become some of my favorite parts. But then you get this like dash of really you guys, with whether it be you
Hmm.
guys, sitting at a table shooting the shit, or like
Hmm.
whatever it may be with your parents. That is such a special touch, and I think it makes like it reels it all in, like it makes sense now. Like when you see those moments where you guys are being legitimately, Vanessa, um, it you like understand what you guys are doing. It
Yeah.
really brings it full circle because it takes out like, wait, are they making fun of us? Into like, no, this is actually means a lot to them. This is like legitimately what life they're living over there and how they're
Yeah,
living it.
yeah. And at the end of every episode too, like after the credits, there's like a little like Easter egg, like where they just kind of throw in something extra, or, it'll be like an additional line, like kind of like how you would see in a show, like in an actual
Uh,
TV show where at the end they, or at the end of a movie, I think of, some people stay in the movie theater to wait for what's going to pop up next. It's kind of like one of those things, but as far as the interviews and those connected moments with, within the cast members or with our families or parents or whatever, we'll definitely have those moments throughout because, again, like you said, that's our way of showing like they are very much a part of this process. They're not
Totally. Yeah.
someone that's like a target or someone we're making fun of. They're someone that has helped us evolve to where it is now. You know what I mean? So that's why they are included in this thing, and then
Yeah.
really hearing from them too of how they feel, and having them be honest and themselves. Like that's super important. My mom was so nervous, but she was herself. That is truly who she is. That's truly how she
Yeah.
feels. My existence makes my mom worry. That is real. That is a real answer. That wasn't scripted. That was her being honest, So little things like that it was just like super special. And it's special to see, looking back at it and I'm like, Mom, we made it on TV, and it's just like cool to be able to tell my mom that, they're honoring our people. They're not, poking fun or whatever. They're not being disrespectful. They're very much honoring their parents, their grandparents, their ancestors, their close knit group of the community because this is what they've known. And it's our way of saying, like, we love our culture. We have our
Yeah.
moments and there's little things that, other people from other cultures don't understand, but they don't have to. We love our culture. We're bringing light to it and we're bringing respect and honor to it. And I think that's the message that we're trying to get across. So if we can do that, then I think that we definitely have accomplished our goal for sure.
It's like you guys have the show in the most perfect moment because we're in a weird state of we're breaking out of like the immigration story where it's now majority of people are first generation, if not second. A lot of them are not speaking Portuguese. A lot of our kids are not learning Portuguese. So you guys have started this in such a crucial time and you're really allowing us to hold on to it because
Hmm.
it's fading away, whether we
Hmm.
like it or not. Here in the States, it's fading. So it's
Hmm.
almost like you guys were like, hold on,
Yeah,
wait. And I think
right.
that's why I like love it so much because after COVID, you just saw so many organizations struggling so much and just trying to get people at Festooj. I mean, I know you guys have a way bigger community over there, but over here, they've struggled a lot. That's why I was saying it's so special that you can literally live like you're in Portugal and have a walk to the cafe.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
for sure.
just the beauty in that is
Yeah.
um like holding on to your culture because that's what I miss when I go to Portugal. I'm like, ugh, this is what I miss. Like just simple
Yeah.
living.
I think that Fall River even has its moments where it kind of loses that touch too, and that's why I think it's so important to have a show like this out there, like you said, to make sure that we're hanging on to those little moments because they're so special, and that's what connects us to our people. That's what connects us to our ancestors and what we've known, and it connects us back to Portugal or to the Azores or to wherever parts of that area our family is from. It connects us to that. And sometimes when you don't have any family members living or, you don't have anyone that brings those traditions around again, it's nice to have it in your community. I'm glad that we have that in Fall River. I hope that that continues to stay here in this city. But as far as culture is concerned, I mean, it definitely is very well known for being, Portuguese. But one of the biggest things that, everybody ever always says is that Fall River is like a little Portugal, a little Azores. That's what they say. And I love that. I love that because who doesn't love the Azores? Who doesn't love, every time we talk about going back to the old country or visiting, Portugal or, you know, everybody gets happy about it. Everybody feels good. It brings back that good energy. So if we can have that right here in the city, I mean, I think that's wonderful. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that we have it here. I'm thankful that
Yeah.
we grew up around it because when in those moments where we don't have the people in our lives to remind us of that, we do have like little cafes and little,
Mhm.
marketplaces and stuff like that that can remind us of those things.
So
Yeah.
where is your family from in Portugal? Or Açores, I'm
My
guessing.
family is from São Miguel,
Okay.
Açores. Both my parents actually, and their parents, they're from the Azores. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
it's
an only
it's
child, right?
I'm an only child. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Which is
Yeah,
uncommon, very
yeah,
uncommon in
it is
Portuguese families.
uncommon. And it seems like you and your mom have a really special relationship. I'm that way with my mom too, and you guys are probably so alike. I'm sure that's why. Like you guys probably banter back and forth a lot. I'm sure she's really funny too. So
She
it's
doesn't
just
think she's
it's
funny. I love it.
yeah, and I like that you're kind of like highlighting that mother-daughter and not even just in character. Like there is something to say about that mother-daughter relationship where of course it's a headache when you're in your teen years and rebelling and all that. But once
Yeah.
you get over that hump and you really, I don't know, it's just different when you're older. You learn to love your mom in a whole different way as a girl and you become like girlfriends in a way.
I'm like, hey mom, you want to go grab dinner? She's like, I'm busy. I'm booked all month. I'm like, damn mom. Now that I am an adult and I'm 37, I love my mom, like that's my best
Mm,
friend. And I'm glad that I have that relationship with my mother. I know not everybody is lucky enough to have that. So I'm very
yeah.
thankful for that. But it wasn't always the case, like I was a pain in the butt teenager, didn't want anything to do with my parents, didn't want to be seen with them, like the typical type of stuff. But yeah, we do have a really special connection. I'm really thankful for that. And my parents have always supported me in everything I do. They've gone to every single play, everything, every single show I've done. It doesn't matter what it is, even if they didn't like it, didn't understand it, didn't, whatever. They were always there, always would be the first people to get tickets for anything. So, it's really nice to have that support. But she'll like text me throughout the day and she texts me or calls me every day. Every single day, my mom and I chat in some capacity. But, to this day, she's like, you should have done something else. I'm like, I know. She's like, maybe this show will be something big and you can retire with the show. I'm like, ah, you
I
know
hope
what, mom?
so. Yeah, I hope so. I
Keep
hope
putting
that
that out
is for
there.
you
Keep
guys.
putting it out
Like,
there.
yeah, for sure. It's gonna be really fun to watch you guys. Like, grow. Soon we're gonna be
Yeah.
like, we can't even touch you because you guys are gonna be so famous."
No, no. I'll invite you on my yacht. Don't worry.
So
No,
what is the plan? Are you going on any of these, are you doing any shows anytime soon?
um,
Yeah,
as much as I love performing with them, I think for right now, as they're doing like their two-man improv bit, I think that it's great and they're super successful. And I encourage them and I support them and
love it.
I'll join in like a video here and there when I'm
Yeah,
available. But
yeah.
as far as touring right now, I'm not on this current tour with them, which
It sucks to just have this normal career, doesn't it?
it
Why can't
really,
we just,
really does. I am
I
drowning
know.
here.
I'm excited to see all this. I hope that, you don't have to do that job anymore and you just make it big. You guys totally have the talent. I mean, what a great group. I mean, I don't know the other two girls on the cast. I don't know them personally, but amazing.
After like looking back at everything and the way it was cast and the way we put these things together with the characters, I'm like it actually looks
Yeah.
natural. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
is our daughter. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're great. Chantel Grace is the other female that's involved
Yes.
too, and she just God, she's good. You know, they're just both so good. They're all, everybody, and then Mike when he's as his
It-
mom. Oh my God. Like it just, there's so many good moments that I am laughing out loud, and just
oh
not
yeah.
because I'm like, oh, this is my show, so I'm going to laugh at it. It's not at all like that. It's me watching my castmates bring together their creativity on the set and be able to
Yeah.
share that with the world. Like I'm just as happy for them as I am for, myself selfishly. I'm super happy that we were able to all come together, because I mean, the show wouldn't be what it is without everybody's
Yeah.
involvement. Even the people behind the scenes, the makeup, sound, all that. Like
Oh yeah.
it was just like it felt so professionally done. And because it was, it felt that way because it was. Go on the set and I'm just like, wow, this is really cool. And so the whole time while filming, I'm hoping that I'm thinking like, oh, I hope this is a big thing. I hope this is a big deal. I hope people really get to see this and love it. And here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
And
Here we
so the
are.
time is here. But it definitely,
Yeah.
I always acknowledge people behind the scenes because, when I was in high school, and I know I'm not trying to compare like a high school play to this like global, show, but
Sensation.
I started, yeah, exactly. Well, I hope so. um, but I started off on stage crew, I was just behind the scenes before I had enough confidence to get on stage and actually do something. Nothing can be done without everybody being
Mm,
acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
people that are behind the scenes, people that are helping out and moving set pieces and, making sure we sound okay, making sure we look okay. If we didn't have them, I mean, it wouldn't be what it is. It's just, Dean is incredible. He was just, his vision, his execution of everything is just so beautifully done that, I mean, we couldn't, honestly, in my opinion, we couldn't have asked for a better, producer,
Yeah.
a better like, sound. I mean, the sound people were awesome. The people that came with Dean, that Dean knew or collaborated with at some point or just had connections with, they were all so open to all of this and they were also willing to take the time. It was so much fun to do because at the beginning of the filming process, we were essentially acting for us, like nobody else was seeing it at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad that I had the experience with these people. And like I said, I hope that this continues. And I hope that I can work with those people again. The sound crew, the makeup crew, like they were all wonderful.
You have the opportunity to have the app and watch it again and again because the reason why, I mean, I watched it once at the premiere, but then I watched it like four more times because there were so many things that I missed. And then
Yeah.
the fact that you guys are filming in so many familiar places, whether it be in California, East Coast, Canada, wherever you guys were doing it, it was almost like a gift to all those little communities too, or like a gift back. Like all the places that have supported all of you guys for all these years, you were able to film in those places and give back. It's just so nice, like, to see like your home hall, like, oh my
Hmm.
God, PBSJ,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's fun to see. So look for the Easter eggs. It's just so full in like a 30-minute segment. There's so much in it.
I think that that's the ultimate goal is we want all the good feelings. We want the memories to come flooding in. We want people to say, "Oh my God, I know what that is. I know who that is. I know that car. I know that, I know that bar. I know whatever." That's what we're looking for. That's what we want. We want people to feel like they can relate to it, and we want people to feel like they can kind of just sit back, have a laugh, and just be kind of caught up in those, like you said, the mannerisms and just the expressions and like, oh yeah, my dad used to say that all the time, or oh, I've heard that before. Those are the things that
Yeah,
we're looking for. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point, is to make people feel like they can be a part of this show as much as, anybody else was. So that's big.
beautiful.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's beautiful. Lastly, before I let you go, what is like some advice you can give like a young girl that's trying to, pursue theater or even pursue comedy in general? Like if you had to basically talk to little Vanessa, what would you say to her and those girls that are just starting to, have this passion for entertaining?
I would say, don't be afraid of rejection at first, because sometimes we want to like shoot for the stars, and that's wonderful to have that mentality and have that energy. You want to go big, but everybody starts off small. Everybody starts off, at the beginning. Everybody starts off. I mean, I think of the guys, Derek and Brian, they started off performing to 5 people, and look where we are now. You know what I mean? So there are going to be moments where it's going to feel defeating, but it's worth pushing through. Like I said, I was super shy in high school, and people don't understand that. Like, I was incredibly shy. And it wasn't until my theater director actually pushed me and he told me I have great comedic timing. And so that for me, like, gave me that boost. All it takes is one person to believe in you, and you
Totally.
can go and do amazing things. So that I will hang on to that for the rest of my life. And he has since passed away quite a few years ago now. But had I not done theater, had I not auditioned for that first play in high school, I don't know if I would be doing this right now. And I just needed that one person to tell me, no, like, no, you should be doing this. Like, if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel happy, you should be doing it. You
Yeah.
might start off as like, an ensemble member, or like, my first role, I was like a chorus mouse in a play. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even sing, so I don't know how I landed that role, but whatever. I think I just opened my mouth and hoped for the best. I don't know. I can't really sing, but like,
That's
I
the
just move your
footage
mouth.
we
I'm like,
need.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, I started off doing that. I started off as someone who didn't even want to do theater. I told my guidance counselor and when I was doing the tour of the high school and stuff, they said we have a good theater program here. I was like, I don't do theater. Like, I just simply straight out was like, I don't do theater. I don't act. That's not something I do. I think that it's super important to explore your creative side. And you're not going to come out the bat being like a superstar or being the best at what you're doing or being the best at your art. But keep going, keep pushing,
Yeah.
and keep going forward. And once you determine in your mind that you're going to do something, you're going to do it. I mean, 12 years ago, I said to somebody, I don't know who it was at the time that I was with, maybe a family member, friend, or somebody. I remember saying specifically, I'm going to work with the Portuguese kids one day. And the person that I was with at
Really?
the time was like, really? I don't think so. And I'm like, I'm going to work with the Portuguese kids one day. And here I am.
And
Yeah.
then I love what you said about it just takes one person to really like build you up. And so
Yeah.
just be that one person for somebody. Like it's not
Yeah.
hard to compliment someone if you think they're doing a fantastic job. Like people don't realize how impactful they could be,
Yeah.
Just this,
Right. Right. And
yeah.
and there might be things that, you do that you're like, this is not ideally what I want to do. Like, I remember auditioning for The Wizard of Oz, and I wanted to be the Wicked Witch. And once again, I was shooting for the stars, and I barely even got like an understudy role. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I
Yeah.
was definitely moving set pieces backstage for that show, and it was disheartening because I was like, oh man, like, I kind of wanted to be on stage. But I didn't stop. I'm moving set pieces and being a chorus mouse, and now I'm in a show all over the globe.
It's a good like element to add to like
Yeah.
your character in general. It's been
I feel
fun.
like everybody should have the experience of what it's like behind the scenes, backstage, and on stage too. And it's
Okay.
nerve-wracking. And I will say, as a piece of advice, if it makes you nervous, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
So, like keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it for sure. And Dean, I will say this one thing. Dean is insisting that I try stand-up comedy. And I'm like, Dean, no way, dude. I cannot. He's like, trust me when I tell you that you should do it. I was like, I don't know. So that's another thing too, is like that doubt. Like I know that makes me feel super nervous, to even think
Yeah.
about trying that. I'm like, I don't do that. Like I doing stand-up comedy and having everybody just wait for me to get to like my punchlines and like, making sure jokes are like on point and having a good set. I'm like, oh my God, no, Dean, no. He's like, I see that. And after like I sat with it for a little bit, like again, like I said, one person, that's all it takes. I'm like, maybe I should try it. What's the worst that could happen? I try it at some like local gig place. I try it out, it's not successful. Okay, put it to rest for a little bit, maybe try work something different and try it again.
And sometimes we confuse nerves for excitement. So don't always think
Exactly.
it's shade nervous. It's excitement too.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, exactly. It's excitement, it's adrenaline, it's good. It's a good thing. It's not
Yeah.
anything that we should, hide. I feel like being a part of the arts and being creative and being able to show our talents and our skills to the world is super, super important, honestly. And I feel like young people need to know that too,
Yeah.
because they need to put themselves out there and really, really show. I mean, there's some talented people in this world for sure, and I hope that they
Yeah.
all have an opportunity to show that, showcase that.
Yeah. You're so talented and just everything that you have said is just so touching and I'm happy for your success. I'm happy that we've been able to finally meet and, now become friends because you're such an inspiration to girls and women and I think, we get a bad rap as Portuguese girls in the sense we're not allowed to do anything.
I know, I
So
know.
it's
It's so
like, thank
true.
you
It's
for
so
doing
true.
it.
At the end of the day, other women have complimented me. Other women have said, thank you for portraying a woman's perspective of things. And that is a huge compliment too, because that's the message I'm trying to get across. Me personally, as Vanessa,
Yeah.
as my characters, as Lydia, and all that. I'm trying to show the world it's not just a Portuguese man's perspective, it's a Portuguese female's perspective as well. And as funny as it is when the guys dress up in drag and it's hilarious because some of them I'm like, wow, you're looking really good right now, and we'll joke back and forth with stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's entertainment and it's great and it's wonderful and people get a kick out of that. But at the end of the day, there's no other way to portray a female message or intention besides doing it as a female. You know what I'm saying? No other
Yeah,
person
yeah.
can do it as good as the actual person. You think that's what their intention initially was with bringing on a female, is showing the community like we get it. Like females, Portuguese women have a lot to say, so we're gonna bring on a female so that
Don't
way you
we?
guys know that we hear you. You know what I mean? And we see
Yeah.
you as females in this community and play a huge role in the Portuguese culture. So
I'm so proud of you. I'm so
thank
happy for
you.
you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
well
so
deserved.
much.
You are a huge asset to the Portuguese kids. Of course, you're like, oh, letting them do their thing, but you are a huge asset to them. It's been such a joy watching your characters build up. And
Yeah,
well,
that's
thank you
great.
for
That's
coming on
good.
the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to all the episodes coming up.
It's very, very good. We have a lot of good, very relatable moments. So I'm hoping that continues to everybody that can see it. So every Monday until I think April 22nd, I believe, each episode.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'm
here we
all in.
go.
I'm all in.
Thank you so much.
All right, Vanessa, so good seeing and talking to you. We'll chat soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.